Hello everybody and welcome to today's PC build video. Today we will be installing the Noctua NH-D15 CPU Cooler onto the AORUS B450 Pro motherboard. Now we are going to be unboxing and installing the NH-D15 D-type cooler. This cooler has wider fin stacks measured at 150mm compared to the previous model, the NH-D14, which was only 140mm. This size increase allows for more airflow. The cooler has an extended heat pipe layout with two NFA 15 140mm fans, and it has a 6 heat pipe dual tower design. Compared to single tower heat sinks, the 6 heat pipe design allows for more surface area, more airflow, and more heat distribution. It is also compatible with past and future sockets. This set comes with the NTH1 much acclaimed thermal compound, the heatsink body, the cooling fans, the SecuFirm Firm 2 renowned mounting hardware known for being reliable, and extra wires including a Y-wire and sound deafening wires, which will let you configure your cooling unit to your specific setup. Our setup required the Y cable, which you will see a bit later in the video. We have now laid out everything that came with the cooling set in front of you, including the hardware to install the cooling unit itself, and the two fans. We will now take the fan out of the cooling unit by releasing the brackets from the heatsink. We are removing the cooling fan for the purpose of demonstration and also to enable installation of the cooler unit to the motherboard itself. This cannot be done with the fan installed into the unit, so we must take it out. We have taken the fan out of the cooling unit. Air from the fans that are located at the front of the PC box will travel through the cooler fans, then out of the box's exhaust. We are going to be orienting these fans to allow airflow from the front to the back to happen properly. At the top of the fans there are arrows. You can see this one is showing the way that the blades will be spinning. The other one will be showing the way that the air will be flowing. These arrows will help you in orienting both fans during the installation. Now we will be installing the steel clips into the next fan. Make sure that they are both facing the same way. Now you are ready for the installation. To install the cooler, we must first install the backplate. To do this, you must lift up the motherboard and install the plate over the motherboard stock backplate. You can tell where it is based on the 3 screws. They will fit into the cutouts on the backplate you are installing, which are shown here. There are 4 mounting holes surrounding the CPU, which you will put the bolts of the backplate into as shown now. Do not remove the motherboard stock backplate as it is required for the installation. The airflow of the fans in the PC and location of the cooler unit is being demonstrated now. We will be taking the NM-IPS1 plastic spacers and putting them into each of the 4 backplate bolts. After that, we will be putting the NM-IMB2 mounting bars over the spacers. There are 3 holes on each side of the mounting bar, but you will only be installing the bolts through the middle holes. Remember to orient the mounting bar alignment according to the final orientation of your cooler. These details can be found in your instructions. Make sure that the curved part of the bars is pointing outwards. Fix the bars into place using the included thumb screws without using excessive force. Once all 4 of the thumb screws have been properly installed, we can move on to the next part of the cooler installation. Now we are going to be installing the thermal paste. This part of the installation is very important, so you must pay close attention during the application. Take the thermal compound, or NTH1, and press a small drop that's about 4 to 5 millimeters in diameter in the center of the heat spreader. Applying too much paste will impact cooling performance and lower heat conductivity. Take the heatsink body and place it over the CPU, making sure the plastic protective covering is off. Screw it into the screw threads of the mounting bars. 2 to 3 screws per each screw and then a repeat will be sufficient. Now that you have installed the heatsink, you will be installing both of the cooling fans. We will align the first fan so that the air is flowing through correctly as seen here, from the front to the back of the box. Reattach the center fan and optionally attach the second fan using the supplied steel clips as shown now. During the installation, use the arrow marks to help guide you. Make sure both fans have the arrows pointing in the same directions as seen here. Our motherboard only has one CPU fan header here. If you only have one fan header for both CPU fans, the instructions state to use the Y cable found in the set to connect both of the fan cables to the single CPU header. If your motherboard has two CPU headers, the Y cable will not be required. Here is our already installed Y cable, which you can see allows the cables to fit into only one header.